Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and serge around the hood. All right, my hood is together. Like I literally just made a hood. Turn it inside out, right side out. Tuck that inner piece in. The inner piece. Look at this. My hood is done. Wow. So cool. Like literally I could just tie this up and I'm wearing a hood. Anyway, that's so cool. I always thought it was so cool. I was not so scared to make hoods. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hard. But it's not. It's super easy. Okay. So now, if you want, you can put if you have a cover stitch or whatever, you can put a stitch over that so that it stays together. You can put a top stitch. I don't have a cover stitch right now. If I get one, I'm probably going to go back and put all mine together. And my sewing machine is very temperamental when it comes to top stitching. So all I'm doing is I'm just going to give it a good steam. And I haven't had any issues with it. This one is not top stitched and it looks fine. So, so I'm going to skip that step with mine. And I'm going to leave it like it is. Sorry, my iron had shut off because it does what it wants. I guess it's a safety hazard. Yes, it is. But you know the thing, yeah, I have to turn it off anyways. I always forget, but you should always turn it off. It is a safety hazard. Do not want your fabric catching on fire. I mean, you don't want your house catching on fire, but you know, who are we kidding? The fabric is what we're worried about, right? The stash fabric and patterns. Even though, you know, Ellie and Mac, you go on their website, you click on your login, you log in, and you can see all your history of all your patterns that you've purchased to make sure that you don't purchase the same pattern. That is such a cool thing. But also, you can just go on there and download. So that's really neat. You don't have to just keep them all in your computer taking up space. Okay, just figure out, throw that out there because I thought that was really neat. Okay, here's my hood all together. And now I'm going to grab that shirt again. Here's my not shirt, my hoodie, front and back put together. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold it, put the two shoulder seams together, and go towards the back, on the back of my hoodie, and I'm gonna mark that back spot exactly in the back. And how I do that, you don't have to do it the same way. I like to clip a little tiny notch. Because if I pin, then my pin might fly off and I don't know where it is. So I just clip a little tiny notch. Just tiny enough that when I serge things on, it won't show. But I still see it. And I'm going to do the same to the front. So we go forward to the front. And here's the front. And I'm going to do the same thing. You can put a pin on it. You can put a clip on it. Whatever you like to do. And now with it facing out, facing forward, right side's up, that's what it is. And my hood right side's out. I'm going to match the bottom of the hood, the back of the hood where the edge is, where they meet together. Or mine doesn't meet quite well, but you know, whatever. And I'm going to match that up to my shirt. And I want to match the outer of the hood to the back of my back shirt. So you're matching the what you're gonna see. So the outer piece of the hood, the right side, that's what it is, the right side of the line of the outer hood to the right side of the fabric in the back. And you're gonna match that seam with right in the middle where you mark that middle spot, because that is the middle of your hoodie. And then we're gonna come around with the hoodie. And we're going to, right now I'm pinning it to the shoulder. You're just going around and pinning. And now we're gonna come around to the front. Now to the front, when you get to that middle spot, the little piece that you marked the middle, you're gonna overlap the hood. You're gonna overlap it 2.5 inches. So I'm gonna go past the middle piece. Here's my middle. I'm gonna go past it. See how this one kind of went past it, the middle? The middle will be right there, and you went past 2.5. And that's what's gonna give it the crisscross when you sew it on, because it crisscrosses over each other. Crisscross. It looks really cool. And so now I'm going to the other side of the hood, and I'm bringing it over and doing the same thing. I'm gonna go past on the other side. So this is the part, the other one is gonna be the part that's gonna be underneath. Now, that part right there, it's a tiny bit tricky, because when you're sewing it on, you need to make sure that you're catching all of them. That's 2, 4, 5 layers of fabric that you need to make sure you catch. Because if you don't catch it all, then you'll have a little gapping hole right there. Gaping hole? Gapping hole? Gaping? I'm not sure. English is my second language. I'm teaching Spanish this year, and it's so fun, but sometimes I'm like talking, and because I've been teaching Spanish, my Spanish accent really comes out, so I'll say things differently. My students think it's funny. Not in a bad way. They think it's cute, endearing. I don't know. I'm proud. I love speaking a different language. If you have a chance to learn a second language, or teach your children a second language, go ahead and do so. It's very important. Anyway. Okay. So, I've got it clipped together all around the hood, the neck area. I overlapped 2 inches one way, and then so I overlapped them 2 inches. Here's the middle. I went over, and then when I came over to the other side, I went over to the other side. I'm going to start in the back, because I always like to start in the back, so I only have one seam in the back, and my son always looks for the back seam to know which one's the back and which was the front. But I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to serge the hood on, making sure that all my pieces are together. Now, when you're serging the hood on, you will have, most of them, you will have 3 layers. Like I said, when you get to the front right here, you'll have 5, so you have to make sure they're all in. And you do that by going really slowly and stopping to make sure they're all together. Don't try to rush and end up losing a piece, because then you have to go back and sew it on, and that's not very fun. Okay, here I am to my hood. So I'm really taking it slowly and matching it up, making sure it goes in. And making sure I remove the pins so my serger doesn't try to eat them and then it hits me in the eyeball. I'm going. Almost there. is where you cross your fingers and pray you caught all those layers. But if you went slow, you did. And I did. Let me make sure. I had a little piece that came out. So when that happens, it's too busy thinking about other things. What I'm gonna do right there, because I had that piece that came out a little bit, I'm gonna go over it with my sewing machine after I'm done, and I'm gonna do a little stretch stitch right there. I'll probably do it gold so you can't really see it, because this little piece came off. I didn't tuck it in all the way, so I already folded it, and that's why you can't see it. But I'm gonna do a stretch stitch right there to put it in. So don't even hesitate. Don't even worry about things like that. Things like that happen, and all you can do is go back and fix it. But there it is, almost done. My hood is on, my front is done. Now we're gonna move on to sleeves. Okay, since I'm doing the two sleeves, the two-tone sleeve, here's my top sleeve, and here's the bottom. So I'm gonna open up that sleeve facing up, right sides up, and I'm gonna grab that other part of the sleeve. I'm gonna face it right sides together, pin it at the raw edge. Basically, I'm just adding more fabric, patchwork. I'm gonna go ahead and pin the other sleeve as well. Very cool. And now I'm going to go ahead and serge those two together. Removing the pins. Same with the other one. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and steam that down. If you have a cover stitch and you want to do a top stitch right there, go ahead. Like I said, my sewing machine doesn't really like that stuff, so I'm just gonna leave it. But here's my sleeve. Now I'm gonna find the middle. So I'm gonna fold my sleeve in half. I could have done that before I opened it up, but I didn't. So I'm going to do it now. Fold it in half, find the middle on the top. I'm going to do a little notch. That's just what I like to do. You can just pin it or whatever you like to do. Same with the other sleeve. Fold it in half. And mark it. Okay, now here's my top. My sleeve, my armsicle, and I'm going to place that face up, and I'm going to grab my sleeve and put it face down, so right sides together, onto it, and I'm going to match that little notch that I made for the middle of the sleeve to the top shoulder seam, and I'm going to go out to the side. So here's the top shoulder seam, and I'm going out to this way. So I'm going to follow my sleeve out to the side, all the way to the edge. And pin. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, all the way to the edge of the other side. And one side you're going to be catching 3 fabrics because you've got the top of the, on the front you're going to be catching 3 fabrics because you've got the pocket. You got to catch that. Okay, so I did one side sleeve. Now I'm going to do the other side, the sleeve on the other side. I like to go ahead and pin them both at the same time. That way when I'm serging, like I said earlier, I don't have to stop and pin and then serge. I just keep going. Right sides facing each other. Pin at the top. Go out to the side. And then all the way to the end. And then the other way. You guys, we're almost done. Like, we're at sleeves now. The hard part is done. What hard part? There was no hard part. You know, I don't know why. So intimidated by hoodies. They are not that hard. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and serge those edges together. Always make sure you're serging together the 2 pieces of fabric. Every once in a while I'll look at my when I'm done making something and that I rushed on or whatever, and then they're like the seams didn't attach. I'm like, no. Then I have to go back, and then I have like serging strings everywhere. Don't like that. But don't feel bad. My friend brought me a dress the other day that she got at a retail store, and she wanted me to fix it because on the side the serger, I guess, didn't catch both sides, the front and the back, so she had like a little hole right there. It's like, so I mean, it happens. It happens. Can easily happen to everyone. I always check it and make sure that one worked out good. So now I'm doing the other side. This is the side that has the top, the pocket. So I gotta make sure it's 3 of them. All finished. Okay, now what we're gonna do now is we're going to put it together. Now it looks like a poncho, but I don't want a poncho, I want a hoodie, so I'm gonna put it together. Right sides together. We're gonna pin the sleeve all the way to the bottom, all the way around this way. Shoop, shoop. So I'm gonna put it face up on my board here. Match up the armpit seams. Then I'm gonna match up my sleeve seams right here so they're not mismatched, and all the way down to the bottom. And then I'll go down to the side. Match the sides. Now remember, the one side with the pocket is gonna have 3 sides, so you gotta match all 3 of them on this side. This is so cool. When I showed my friends my hoodie, they're all like, make me one, make me one. I'm like, if you buy the fabric. Do you struggle with hoarding fabric? I sure do. I have fabric I really like, and I'm like, do I really want to sew anything with it, or do you just want to leave it on my shelf looking pretty? I don't know why. Just love it. Then when I finally decide to make something, okay, like this fabric was the case with this fabric. It was so pretty and soft, and I'm like, I had it on my shelf for a while. I'm doing the same thing on the other side. Matching the armpit, then the sleeve, then the side. Anyway, I had it on my shelf for a while, and I'm like, oh. And I kept seeing patterns. I'm like, okay, maybe that might work, and maybe that might work. But I'm like, it's just so cute. I don't want to ruin it, you know? And then I got a little afraid because I'm like, okay, literally, guys, this is my second adult hoodie. And it's my... I've made 2 hoodies for my son, but they've been like the, well, let me see. Yeah, I've made 2 hoodies for my son, but that's it. And so I was like, oh, do I want to use this nice fabric? 'Cause I'm not really 100% sure. The first adult hoodie I made with like really cheap, thin sweater knit, which you guys know, that's the worst thing to sew with. And it didn't turn out quite right. And I think it was because of the fabric. So I was kind of scared. I'm like, oh gosh, you know, I don't know if I want to. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it. And I'm going to risk the biscuit. And I did. And I am so glad I did, because I love it. It's the perfect combination. And, but I was so scared to use it because my fabric. Anyway, it's pinned. So now I'm going to go ahead and serge it all the way. All that to also said, fabric matters. Don't give up. If you make something and it doesn't turn out quite right, make sure you use the right fabric. I mean, I'm telling you, it was wonky, it was big, it was flimsy. I'm like, what did I do wrong? I picked the wrong fabric. That's what I did wrong. Okay, one side done. Other side, make sure you catch everything. Everything. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Singing to you. I'm getting excited if you can't tell. I'm almost done with this hoodie, and I'm so excited for it. Okay, now, I know I said I was gonna do the drawstring method, but I changed my mind and I'm gonna do the band, but I don't have the band with me, so I'm gonna show you how you would do the drawstring, and then I'll when I do the cuffs, I'll show you that's how you would do the band as well. So for the drawstring, you would start at when you're sewing the sides, you're sewing the sides, you would start at the bottom and you would only sew 1/4 of an inch. So you'd sew 1/4 of an inch, and then you would leave 3/4 open without sewing, and then you start back up and sew the rest. Only on one side. The other side you would sew it all together. Then you, after you're done, like we're done now, you would fold up and do an inch. You would go up and do an inch hem, so that way you would have room for your drawstring to go in through the side. And leave 2-inch gap where you can put your drawstring in and go all the way around, and then close it up. And you would have that opening right there, so you can use drawstring would come out through that opening where you left it open. But I didn't do that, so I'm going to do the band. But I didn't cut out my band yet, so I'm just gonna show you how to band your arm. So you're gonna band my arm, and I'm gonna show you how, and then we'll be done. It's so cool. Because here it is. I'll have to take a picture for you guys afterwards. Okay, so here's my arm. And I'm going to quarter, so I got my one side, so I go from that edge to the other edge, and that's 1/2. And mark it. And then I'm gonna fold from where that notch is right here and go out to the 2 sides and mark it. The scissors don't cut. There. And then I've got my cuff. I'm gonna fold it down the middle, right sides together. And serge the raw edges. Okay, now I'm gonna fold it up. Match up my seams. That will be what my 1/4 is. And I'm gonna quarter it again, just like I did with my top part of the sleeve. So we go out to one side, and here it is. Then we match that in the middle. You would go out to the other side and the other side, and that is exactly what you do with the band for the bottom of the hoodie. You would quarter it just like this, and you would quarter the bottom of the hoodie. So we'd pretend this is the bottom of the hoodie. Now we're gonna put this cuff into the sleeve, so right sides can face each other. So we'll match where the seam is of the arm to the cuff. Pin that. Then we'll match all the quarters together. And that's exactly what you would do with the band. Match the quarters. With the cuffs, if you're using some kind of material that doesn't have very much stretch, you may want to use something that's a little bit stretchier, that has the stretch, because you know you want the recovery on the cuff. Okay, so now that it's pinned, I'm gonna serge it all on the outer edge. Like I said, I always start at the seam, and you might have to pull a tiny bit, make sure it's even. So you might have to pull the cuff just a tiny bit, but not very much. See, my pin fell off, so I'm glad I have the markings, because then I can tell where it is supposed to be. Here goes my other pin, fell off again. So I have the mark, so I know exactly where it is. There it is. My cuff is done. Ugh, I kind of mismatched right there. And if you do that, then I would just go back in and sew it up a tiny bit more, so I can cover that up. But that's just preference. So there it is. My hoodie, undercover hoodie, is done. Done and done. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, this sew along. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything else you'd like me to see me make. I will post some pictures of how it looks on, but I'm so excited. It looks so great. Nothing scary about it, was there? Sewing is so much easier when you actually get your hands in and you start doing it. And Ellie and Mac has such a great way to post all their patterns in ways that they're just so easy to follow. And if you have any questions, the Facebook, Ellie and Mac Facebook page is such a great resource to get questions answered by other people that are sewing out in the community. So thank you for coming with me on this ride. Have a great day. Bye.